Hey everyone, I just wanted to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me in all my social medias at John D. Clouser, literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
I love pineapple sandwiches. You just spread your mayonnaise on one side and lay slices of pineapple on top and close your bread, and there's your sandwich. Delicious.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What is going on, everyone? What's up? So we are here on a new episode. This is episode 69. Fuck yeah, of my show, The John Show. What's up? So we're doing this on a different night, Friday night. Normally I don't shoot this till Monday. I shoot these every Monday evening, or like Monday early evening, dusk. Because then after I shoot this, then I do the Cool Baby podcast. But what I'm doing is that I have this crazy thing that's going on. So I am working on a feature film right now. It's a documentary. And one of the great things about it is that you get to interview interesting people when you do a documentary. And so I have to do that this weekend. So I am doing this now so I can start getting ready for that thing. So slowly, guys, I'm slowly telling you more about this whole thing. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very fun. But yeah, actually talking about this whole thing, when I first started doing this, I got this idea was brought to me more or less because this is nothing that I did. I like Dogman stuff. Bigfoot is interesting. It's not the most fun thing for me because I don't really believe in any of it. And the more I am involved, especially now, I'm really getting hands-on involved with it. I'm seeing that it's just more and more just BS, in my opinion. And so what you get to do is, when you're a filmmaker, you get to meet a lot of interesting people, because a lot of the time you're doing these, your job is to take a story and then manifest it and use a camera to tell this thing. So I'm like, all right. And so with this documentary that I'm working on, I have gotten to meet a lot of cool people who are into Bigfoot. So this guy I've just recently did an interview with, so that's what got me involved with the guy I'm going to be interviewing this coming weekend, is that when I was interviewing him, we were sitting there, we were talking, and he's like, yeah, dude, I have 2 podcasts about Bigfoot. And then he starts talking, and in my head I kept thinking, I'm like, if you have 2 podcasts about Bigfoot, why do you need the second one? What are you not talking about in the first one that is being told in the second one? And so I was like, okay, I'm like, whatever. And then he finished. We were almost done. He's like, oh yeah, one more thing. Let me. So when I'm out there and I'm searching for Bigfoot, he whistles, and he's like, the reason why he whistles is because I don't want to scare them. Because what would you think? If you're living out in the world and there's some people just coming by, and then they just rain upon you, wouldn't you rather to hear them and know they're coming? So you just whistle. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's weird. Okay, well, I'm sure that they really want to be around you now, or that. I'm sure you just scared the shit out of them, so they're just gonna run away now. So I don't know. That's weird. I thought that was the weirdest thing. But this is gonna be a very strong test on my patience and my endurability of just trying to just get through certain group of people. I think that's the best way of putting it. I don't know. It's weird. I got brought onto this. I'm just ADing. So I'm just ADing. So that is an assistant director role. Which is completely fine, which is awesome, because I really want that thing, because I kind of need to redeem myself from, I don't know, I worked on this movie a couple years ago where I was the second director, which was awesome. I'm like, oh my God. So I was working with these people from New York, and this movie ended up like going to Sundance, and it didn't do anything there. But like, it was like, I'm like, oh fuck yeah. The director I was working with, she was a very talented lady from New York, and we had like this really cool crew, and we went to this place up like in middle California, and we were up there like it was just a shit show of a fucking production. Like everything was just like off the wall because like they had all this money, but then they just didn't have any direction. That they like, and I ended up like you saw like this glorious crew just fall apart, and so I just need to like I'm like, dude, I need to go back. And I'm like, ever since then, I'm like, I'm just gonna be a director, and I just just make my own stuff. And so this is gonna be really fun to see how like working with someone else and seeing their vision, just being like the assistant on it. It's really fun. It's a really good time because like we've done the little bits of it, but some of it I've like done and like they're, hey John, we just need you to go interview this person. Well, we're gonna go shoot something else. So it's just it's really interesting how this crew is working because it's like two camera crews because there's like a guerrilla crew and then there's like a like in studio crew who will shoot something that's more like this. If like sitting down, like I'm sitting and this is lighting, and then there's a crew that will go out and then just shoot with just handheld stuff and have a lot of like gimbals and things like that, glide cams to help keep the camera steady. So it's a really interesting thing because like I'm seeing like bits and pieces and I'm very involved, but it's also like I also have this director who's coming in from the side who's like, boom, this is their idea. They're like, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it's nice to see this. It's really fun to know that like you just know your place, just do your role, and we're gonna get this done. So that's in the works. But yeah, that's a interesting thing, like that Bigfoot stuff. I don't know. I I thought I was gonna come in. I figured I'd just come in really hot this week because I'm super excited. The Clippers just won. They're going through the first conference championship, the first Western Conference championship in what history in like the league, not league. What did you call it? Their history, the club's history, franchise. Yeah, that's the word, franchise history. It's so weird because like, so I'm like been watching a lot of Euro League. So like you hear clubs and you hear all this other lingo. So I'm like, wait, which one was it again? And the Euro League really reminded me how much I love watching soccer. It is one of the most fun sports in the world. And it's just like, I'm like, I tell all my American friends, I'm like, you just give it a second. Just give it a second. Watch this chess match. Because you've watched these people just bing bong. Or you see a team just like, you see how they're just attacking this other side. And the other team has not ever gotten any shots on goal. Every once in a while, they'll kick it out. And they get lucky. And like, they'll get like a breakaway shot. And most of the time, like the defenders get back in time and they defend it well. And so you see this whole process and like you just keep bounce, woo, 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 back and forth. They're just pound, 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 pound. And then boom, a goal gets scored. And you just freak the fuck out because it's like, dude, it's like you basically been holding your breath and now you can breathe for a second. It's like, fuck yeah. And it is. And it weirds people, Americans out because like the clock just keeps running and they just add injury time. It's like, well, why do you do that? Why don't you just like have a set time? It's like, well, that's not how they want to do it. I don't know why. And then even when like injury time could be over, but if a team's kind of attacking and trying to get, like, the ref can just let the game go and just let it go, and then we'll blow the whistle if the ball gets cleared out or something. So it's just such an awesome thing. I love how I'm describing a sport that everyone knows. But I don't think Americans really understand like the brilliantness of it and like how it's a chess match. It's just like football. The only thing is like they just don't slam their head into each other. It's the same concept in the sense of like strategy, and you have to just slowly break down the other opponent. And by doing that, by these series of plays, by these series of like we're going to attack a certain angle or a certain player, and because of that, because we understand that like, that's their weakness, we will be victorious because of it. It's simple. It's not hard. It's rocket science, guys. It's rocket science. Or not rocket science. Sorry, like, I'm not going to lie. I was like pretty fucking nervous during watching the Clippers game. And I'm like, you know what, John? Watch the Clippers game and then do the podcast after it. Doesn't matter. It's already a weird night anyway. I know it's like a school night because you have work in the morning. It's no big deal. Just get her done. But yeah, it's just, so we're here. The Clippers won. 2 podcasts with a Bigfoot. Interview with a Bigfoot dude. Whistling. Don't want to scare him. How's that, guys? How was that? Was that good? Yeah. You like burps in the microphone? Like this episode, I'm just like, you know what? Whatever, man. It's like, hang loose, bro. We just gotta just kick it till this thing's over. I'm just like, I'm so excited when I get this stuff, when I do this, like, I'm like, hey, John, like, see how it works so much easier when you just have a little bit more structure? Like, you have things pretty tight. Just tight it a little bit more. And everything else might just, it'll just make the other days like, kind of like fall into place a little bit better. And it's just like, yeah, this works a lot better when I do it like this. It really does. Whenever I have like, I'm like, okay, so Friday. So like, I normally just kind of like Monday or I guess Tuesday through like Saturday or yeah, Friday night. I usually have those nights are usually like kind of blocked for just writing. But I'm like, dude, in writing, and then I've been doing 2-a-days. But with doing that, like when I'm doing my 2-a-days, I've been like getting really angry because I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm wasting my time a little bit because like I know I'm being, what's the word? Proactive by the fact that I'm working out again, doing 2 workouts. But the thing is, then why aren't you doing? You go home and you're a little bit tired, but you still do film stuff because you write. Or like you just like kind of like play with the camera and you take weird pictures or you do weird voiceover stuff. But then after that, you don't really do much with you edit it and then you don't do anything with any of this. Like what are you doing? So I'm like, okay, John, what you need to do is like we need to start having a structure between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. These 3 days need to have a little bit more structure because now if you do Friday as your podcast day, your solo podcast, it'll allow you the weekend to have stuff that happens so you can be able to write notes about it. So you'll have stuff to talk about on the next episode. And then, so that's pretty much what it was. I think that's where the fray was right there was the fact I'm like, well, I'm just not going to have anything to talk about if I do it before my weekends, then I don't have anything to talk about. And I think that's really where the problem lies. It's like, John, you'll have stuff. You just have to write them down a little bit better. And make sure you write in more detail because by the time you roll back around on that Friday, it's going to be so long because you're going to have so much other stuff now in your head. Because like right now, I have this note and it says Chipotle is like the Subway for Mexicans. It's like, I don't know what that was for. I don't know why I wrote that. I don't know why that's written down. No idea. I just know that like somehow I was like thinking about Chipotle, Subway, and I related it to me, Hispanic, to a Hispanic people. You know, that's it. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's Saturday. It's June 19th at 12:35 a.m. Happy June 19th. It's really cool. It's a federal holiday. It's awesome, actually. Not going to lie. It's awesome, and I'm not going to shit on it. I'm not going to do anything bad because this is a moment of positivity, and it just needs to be uplifted. It really is one of those times where you just need to uplift it, but it's like it's a little embarrassing that it took this long though. Like we should have been better than that. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, but yeah, it's awesome. It's to see this this thing happen for a group of people and for brown people. It's a move for all of us because as a brown people, like we all feel like we won when stuff like this happens. It's such an amazing feeling and I'm just saying that it's an awesome feeling. Like it's so weird because we live in this time where like even as a brown person, I think maybe because like I'm such light complected, I always feel like I'm like, John, you can say as much as you want to a point. And then you just like it's just smarter for you to be like, all right, well, you want me to burp in the microphone again? I could do that and then just move on. So you know that's what we'll do. Actually, talking about that, a lot of weird gym stuff happened this week. You want to know about it? Let me tell you. So what was one? So remember last week how that guy was jerking off in the sauna. Well, this week I, the bathroom was pretty occupied, and I walked into it, and I was like, oh shit, I need to go. And so the only bathroom that was open was the handicap one. So it's a larger one and has those, the big doors. And so I was peeing. And then when I turned back around, a guy was standing in the doorway just looking at me, just watching me pee. And then he like just turned around. Oh, and then I just tried to pretend that it was no big deal or anything like that. And I'm like, I just laughed because I'm like, what the fuck is this going? What is this now? This is the new one. I haven't had this. I've never had guys watch me pee. And I thought maybe it was just because like the bathroom was full and he was just making sure that like, I'm like, oh no, is it occupied? No, it wasn't. Because he was literally just standing in between the doorway, just watching. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And then he just like, as soon as I turn around, there's a second, and and then he's like, just like kind of did a little turn and just, I'm like, okay. And I just was laughing and I just smiled. Like, oh my, this is hilarious. This is just what happens. This is just normal. This is what happens in my life sometimes. It's been funny because maybe the last 2 months I feel like it's been pretty dull, and I'm like, oh, maybe no weird things are gonna happen anymore. And then the good Lord above blesses me with a little bit more weirdness. And it's hey, it's been my life since day one. Everything since birth, everything has been weird. Birth, Honduras, San Pedro Sula, Puerto Cortez. Then, my mom left me in foot of a church. Orphanages. Craziness. Dude, so one of the weirdest memories I always have one of my first ones was the orphanage. The first one I was at. So think of like a building. Think of like almost like a square. Almost like the Pentagon. But it was just a square. And there's a courtyard in the center of it. In the center, it had all four corners had like cement walkways that went up to the center of just a water fountain. And then on the outside was like, it was almost like a would you say an outside high school, in the sense of like the lockers were outside. So like you could see the door, and there's like individual rooms, but like there was this walkway on the inside part, and it was just these gray walls, yellow, like these dull yellow, dull blues, and dull oranges on the wall. It was like gray, then like those lines too. And it was just such a weird place. That one was weird, but I only remember being there for a short amount of time, and then I was out and I was living with a different family, a lawyer family. And I was doing that because like I was going to get adopted by this family, and I was about to get adopted by this lawyer lady in, was it Washington State, I believe. Yeah, she lived like off the coastline of Washington, I believe. Yeah, and she had like a pontoon boat. I do remember that. I remember being told about that. I'm like, she had a plane. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Sure. And then I don't know, that didn't happen. So I ended up like getting with the family who I'm with now, or who adopted me now. I mean, it sounded like it that I was just adopted, but like who had adopted me and who is my family now. There we go. That's the better term for it. And yeah, then that whole process started. And so then I started living with their lawyer family. And then we had to move out. I had to move out of that because they were going to try to start paperwork to adopt me too. And they were pretty like well off, like Hondurnitos. And so like the lawyer and the lawyer's parents were part of the University of Tegucigalpa. So like it would have been like, in terms of it, I would have probably turned out pretty all right. Yeah, they're like, all right, no, we're good. Thank God we didn't get him. Oh, yeah. Oh, por qué, poor guy. Poor guy. We thought maybe he would be, smart, but nope, he not. So bye, Juanito. And so anywhere I look at it, like in those weird term times, I could have fallen into weird things, and I always think about it every once in a while. Like, what if I would have ended up with the doctor in Washington State? And I'm like, wow, who would I have been then? What would I have done? Who would I have met? What would have influenced me to become the person who I am at the age of 32 now? Would I be doing this? Probably not. Who knows? It's fun. It's always because and that's the fun things I get to have. I don't look at them as weird. I've never looked at any of that stuff as weird, as sad, or like people are like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know. It's what I have. This is all I've known. I don't know how it was to like just be born into a family and then just be in that family. I don't know how that feels. I don't know. I was in orphanages, and then I was living in like lawyer family in San Pedro Sula and Tegucigalpa. That's where I eventually left from Tegucigalpa. Came to the States. That's how I got here. So like I don't know. These are just these little bullet points, which would be your bullet points of living in, Dearborn, Wisconsin, as a kid, then moving to Detroit, Michigan. Is that those are your bullet points? Like so, these are my bullet points. Same thing. But yeah, like it was fun, and then I don't know. I think I probably already told you guys this story when I first moved to the States. Didn't know any English. It was really weird because I remember I flew into Houston, was where I landed, and from there, that's what I had to do the whole import. Because the first time when you first come into the States, you have to come back in. They get customs. That's what it is. I had to go through customs, and I remember my parents bought me a dinosaur, and my dad put his finger into it, and I freaked the fuck out because I'd never seen this before. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And why is your finger inside this thing? It petrified me. I was terrified. So that was my very first, hey, welcome to America, John. We don't scare the fuck at you. We don't scare the fuck at... If I wouldn't have started, that would have been great. We don't scare the shit out of you at all here. At all. Not at all. But yeah, it was... I don't know how I even remember that. Like, that's such a weird thing that I remember that. Because I do. I remember it was just a gift shop. It had a bunch of books in it, and it had a bunch of like just random toys. And my dad just got me this little dinosaur, green, like a triceratops, like it was a triceratops, and its mouth was open, and it had a hole in it and it had like paint on it where like it was red where the tongue was, and you could put your finger into it, or you could put, I don't know, it was just open, and like he put his finger in it, and it just scared the living hell out of me. So I don't know, good times. Just my life. This is the weird things. Oh, you want to know another weird thing? So at my job, I have this random job because COVID, COVID, and I don't know, we're day 69, of COVID free. I don't know, but then like Chris Paul has COVID. He tested positive for COVID, but he's vaccinated. I don't know what this world is going. You just go with it. You're just like, all right, well, I guess this is what's happening now. Okay, well, and we all just kind of flow into it. Anyway, so at my job, I had some bosses. Well, anyway, I guess they weren't doing their job very well, and so they got fired. What's interesting about my job is the fact that, like, normally if you get fired, you leave the premises, you get in your car, and you drive home, and you just never go back to that building ever again. Well, the thing is, this is one of these jobs because it's a resort for senior citizens, is that the managers is a married couple, a man and wife, traditional. What it is, I don't know. I don't know. That's a joke. I have no fucking clue if they would do gay or lesbian couples or trans. I don't know. Not my place. Not my place. Don't care. Well, I do care. I hope you guys get the same equality. That's not what I mean about. I'm like, I don't, in the sense like this, it doesn't mean anything for the story. See, the thing is, like, I like to dig myself into holes, and then once I dig myself in that hole, digging it out makes it so much fun in the sense of like, okay, and you're more intrigued because you're like, okay, how is he going to dig himself out of this hole? Let me show you. And so they live on the resort as well. They have a room, basically. They have this master room. So what happens is, actually, what I'm going to do is when they move out, I'm going to ask to look into it. I'm going to see how much bigger it is versus all the other rooms. I'm just super curious. Anyway, so they are, right now what they're doing is they have 5 days to basically evacuate the premises or to leave the house, and because they have to get like a truck and move themselves, because they have to go from Kansas City all the way back to, I think, Phoenix, Arizona, or Tucson. I think Tucson, actually. And I'm like, it's not terrible. Like, Tucson's pretty nice. So what they're doing is that they're just kind of throwing stuff away. And so every once in a while, like, people throw away, like, it's a nice place. And these are pretty rich people. So they throw away like nice tables, and they throw away nice things. And sometimes they're just sitting next to the dumpster because they're just going to get thrown away. And I found a TV there, which ended up being broken, which sucks. So I'm going to like probably, it's all good. All the things good for now is just like a prop TV, which is what I'm going to use it for. Is it's just going to be a TV that sits there, but I don't know if that's good, or I guess like I could always green screen it, and that, because like I really like to have something fake running on it at least, so you think that it's running. I don't like having just a blank TV. But anyway, I guess it really doesn't. I'm being very anal for a situation that I have not written anything for. This is what a director does. He's like, well, can I use it here or not? I don't know. So anyway, the couple. See, I have to use a lot of things to eat up some time. Got 3.5 minutes left. So that's just why I'm just eating up some time, just doing it slow. And it's a podcast. Does it really matter? I feel like I'm trying to do some weird ass stand up now. Sorry, I apologize, guys. Dabs. Anyway, so my bosses are throwing stuff away. So I was like, I found this TV, and then anyway, so I found this. I wonder what else is going to be over here. So there was this box. So I opened the box, and it was like there was this pink thing that was half covered, and I had gloves on, so it was all good. I was being clean, COVID safe, and I flipped it open, and there was this fucking like dildo vibrator thing. So I found my boss's ex vibrator dildo. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Only I would be able to do that. Leave it to me. See, you guys live your life. I'll live this weird life because I know I have to do a podcast eventually in the week, and then I have to do it every week. And so because of that, I do these weird things happen. And that's one of them. By finding your boss's dildo vibrator. It's like half dildo, half vibrator. So I guess, isn't every vibrator just a dildo when it's not turned on? That's fucking deep. That might be one of the most deepest things you ever hear. That's one to drink on, guys. That is one for sure to drink on. Oh man, hasn't this been fun? Hasn't this been just a great episode? Probably one of the best ones. I've just been loosey goosey. So yeah, I see that would have worked better if I went loosey goosey. Then I was able to bend something else. Mix something else with it. But now, guys, what do you expect me to do? I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a comedian. It's not like I stand up. Come on, it's not like I do stand up. Leave that to Aaron. By the way, Aaron is still out of town. I don't think we're gonna have a Cool Baby podcast this week. I don't think we're gonna have another Aaron and John show. That means I need to find another co-host. This is the life I live. Isn't it so? It's so hard. I'm getting a new table for the podcasting, so it's gonna be a long table, long and thin. So it should be pretty fun. It'll be interesting to see how it works. It's heavy. It's real wood. It's going to go here and go long this way. So this table will probably go bye-bye, and it makes me think like how I'm going to shoot my solo podcast. Because like, what am I going to do? Be sitting like this and have to look over? I don't know. It's going to be weird. So this is what we're doing. Again, guys. So I need to take that out. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that's left. I have like just a flat out ability to talk.